Welcome to the Motivational Institute, where passion and purpose will always find you. My name is Stacy, and I'm your host today of that Legacy Life. Here we will discuss how to discipline your emotions. So I'm really excited about this topic. Many of you have given me a lot of positive feedback about some of the other topics, and this was one that you definitely wanted to hear more on, and it's something that I'm excited about as well. So have you ever responded to something and wish you would have responded differently? It could have been you yelled at someone, you hit someone, you acted out, you said something that you shouldn't have said, etc. It happens to all of us, every single one of us, myself included. I know a lot of people think, oh, Stacy's so sweet, she's got a pretty smile and all this kind of stuff. It's like, I get mad too, okay? Like, please believe that. Ask some people that know me and they will tell you. But the beautiful thing, I think, about me is I do a little personal inventory at the end of the day and ask myself, like, how could I have responded to that differently? I do that. So today we're going to talk about how to discipline your emotions. And I actually heard Terry Crews say this in an interview. And I was like, wow, discipline your emotions. I mean, people talk to him about his health and fitness and exercise. And he was like, no, above all and anything else in life, I had to discipline my emotions. So I thought that was huge, and that just kind of stuck with me. So what I want you all to know, and if you see me drifting off, it's because I do have notes. I always have notes, is that you can change who you are and how you respond to things in any moment. Okay, you can change that at any time. That is something that is within your control. That is your personal power. So remember that. You can always change. One of the things that I recommend is that if you find yourself being emotional often, come up with some type of strategy. So me, just taking a deep breath. So I'll take a deep breath, and then when I exhale, I blow out as if I was blowing out candles. This was something that I learned when I was working with kids. And here are my candles, and I'm blowing these out. And then you can do the other 5. Now, I know this sounds like real elementary, and y'all probably thinking like, blow out candles. Like, seriously, it does help you in the moment. And I will talk about why. It could be anything. It could be reading your Bible, taking a walk, making a phone call, prayer, meditation, just being quiet, whatever it is. But you must have a strategy. So figure out what works for you in that moment that you can use anywhere at any time. So let's go over my 5. Top 5. So today I'm going to start with the first one, which is your history. It's really important that when you think about your emotions, think about where you developed how to respond to your emotions. This could be your childhood experiences, where you grew up. This could be the parents that you had, friends, family members, coworkers, like whoever was in your life at that time. Like, how did they respond to things? How did they handle disappointment? How did they handle frustration? And think about that, because that is a part of who we are as well. You know, many times we'll say like, oh, I'm not going to be like this person or be like that person, but it's almost inevitable to take on some of those type of characteristics. So think about your history. And one of my favorite quotes is, if we don't understand or recognize our history, then we're destined to repeat it. So it is vitally important for us to know what that past experience was like and how we can make those changes moving forward, because you are what you eat. And that is a metaphor for life. But you do take on those experiences. So that's number 1, is understanding your history. Where does it come from? What were those influences like in the past or even in the present experiences that you're having? Number 2 is awareness. So what really upsets you? Like, what bothers you? What are your triggers? Everybody knows what their triggers are. Some people's are silly, where they like, I don't like the way you chew, and that's triggering me right now. Or it could be another thing where if someone says something smart to you or is sarcastic, that's a trigger. I don't know. Everybody has their own triggers. Like, you know what really, really upsets you. The beautiful thing is, you know. And if you don't know, that's what I'm saying. Think about it. Write down what triggers you. So if you are taking notes right now, write down at least 3 or 4 things that you know really bother you. And what I'd like you to do is, so it could be anything. Oh, let me share my personal one. I don't like to be judged. So when I feel like someone is judging me or belittling me in some type of way, that is certainly a trigger. And I gotta be like, I'm spitting, blowing out all kind of candles. My candles, your candles, everybody's candles. But anyways, make a list. You know what they are. Once you've made this short list, ask yourself, why does this bother you? Why does it bother you? Because many times, and I don't want to go too deep on this. Sorry, my armpits are itching. I don't want to go too deep on this, but I think it was Jan Van Sant who said, you know, many times we're bothered by things that other people say or do because there's only a few reasons why. Either because it has some truth behind it and we don't like it, or there's something that we need to face. And the reason that this is triggering us is because it's almost prompting us to respond to it differently. So that's a little bit deeper, and you got to kind of analyze that. But it goes into my little bullet points under awareness, which is number 1, ask yourself why it bothers you. 2, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel sad? Does it lower your self-esteem? Does it make you feel afraid? Does it make you feel nervous, threatened? Like, how does it make you feel once you realize what bothers you? And then the third part of this is ask yourself what you need. Okay? What is it that you need instead of what is happening right now? Okay? Because the root of a lot of times when we get upset, the root behind this anger typically is like, there's a disconnect, or there's like an unmet need, or there's something going on that we really have not addressed. And we must address it, because a lot of times the issue that we're having is not with the other person. They're basically there. Abraham Hicks says, as Trey will love this a lot, is like, they're there to give you an opportunity to face whatever that thing is. And she calls it an opportunity for you to line up. Line up with it. So if someone said something to me and I felt like I was being judged, it could be not so much that they're judging me, but that I have to become comfortable with whatever it is that I'm doing. Because if I felt comfortable with it and I accepted it and I was okay with it, that judgment wouldn't even bother me. The reason why it bothers me is because there's possibly some truth behind it. Okay, so that's a little deep. I ain't gonna go too deep on that, but ask yourself, what do you need and where does the root of that anger come from? Number 3, and I love this one. So Wayne Dyer talks about stimulus versus response. Sorry, I got a text from somebody telling me to throw out another video. So I got juice right now. Stimulus versus response. Greg Ketter, who is just got thrown off, who's a trainer and mentor for Hope for Prisoners, he talks about stimulus versus response all the time. And I love his example. So if you're writing this down, it's stimulus plus response equals outcome. Or if you want to shorthand it, S plus R equals O. Now he talks about what a stimulus is, which, as I said, those are those triggers. What is it that somebody says or does? How do you typically respond to it? Because the combination of those two things is going to lead to the outcome. Now, for me, that plus sign in the middle, I made a note that for me, that represents time. That represents time. So, and that time corresponds with maturity. So basically, let me give you an example. If you got 2 5-year-olds playing with toys, and one 5-year-old takes a toy from the other kid. What's going to happen? Oh, you took my toy. I'm going to take your toy back. Okay. Stimulus, taking the toy. Response, I'm going to take your toy. Outcome, dad's having a conniption back here, right? Mom's stressed out. The kids get on my nerves. They're always arguing, always fighting, blah, 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 blah. That's the outcome. For a child, that time in between the stimulus and response is almost non-existent. You do this and I'm going to do that. Boom, just like that. When we become more mature as adults, there should be more time in between the stimulus and response, which means you took something from me. I'm processing it and saying, okay, you took my toy and I don't like the way that made me feel. Now that makes me feel sad. How should I respond to it? If I take your toy back, we're going to end up fighting. Okay. Now, as an adult, that's really extreme, right? But that level of maturity advances over time. As adults, we should have more time in between the stimulus and response. But many of us go around here acting like 5-year-olds. Okay. And you're not 5. So I'm going to need you to multiply that times 7, 8, whatever it is, and act your age. Become a mature adult. We have to work on this though, okay? Which means you don't just respond to things anymore. Me, I'm passive aggressive, okay? Some people don't like it, whatever. That's just me. I'm not the person who we get upset, we're playing basketball on the court, just an example, and you guys made fun of me and I'm gonna take my ball and run. No. I get upset and I'm like, y'all can have that ball. I'm gonna go find another court and I have money, so I'm gonna get another ball and I'm good. That's the passive aggressive in me. Oh, you'll miss me on your team. Trust me. That's the passive aggressive in me. Some of you will play on that court with people and antagonize them and fight with them and you're aggressive. You know, that's how you choose to respond. That's fine. Some of you are passive where you'll just continue to play with them and let them make fun of you, and that's just the way it'll be. We all got our different levels, right? But I know myself. Now, I don't always respond like that in every situation, but most times, 9 times out of 10, I do. That's me. Anyway, stimulus versus response. So how do we change that? How do we change the outcome? Ding, ding, you already got it. Change the response. All right, change the response. Now, it seems like it's something easy to do, but it's not. Because what our response to things is in life is, especially when it comes to emotion, we've developed this over time. This is not something that just happened overnight, right? The way we respond is a pattern. It is a series of behaviors, learned behaviors from the environment, from your influences, things you've continuously done over and over and over again. It's a pattern. It's a learned behavior. And a behavior and a skill, is nothing more than a set of behaviors. So many of you think that a skill is a positive thing. Not all the time. We all have some bad skills, things that we do consistently and over again, but they're not necessarily things that help us and develop us. But we can change that, okay? We can change how we respond to things by changing our behavior. That's what's going to change the outcome. Sorry, I went a little long on number 3. Number 4. Visualize. This one is really important. Wayne Dyer says that we should be the observer. Being the observer means we almost have like this bird's eye view of ourselves from up above. Like you can see yourself, hear yourself in that moment. Visualize. So let's start here. Think about a situation where you flipped your lid, you popped off, whatever it is, and you think like, I could have handled that differently. I could have said something differently, done something differently, etc. How would you have liked to respond to that? Go back in your mind, rewind. Rewind, yes, I just did that. And go back to that moment, re-experience it the way you would have liked to have responded to that in your mind. This could be a physical response. This could be a verbal, something you said. It could be nonverbal, something you should not have said. But rehearse that in your mind, okay? And then practice it. practice, practice, practice. Eric Thomas says this, and I love it. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanence. Permanence. And that's what we want when it comes to discipline these emotions. We want this to be a permanent change. So it is something that we have to constantly do over and over and over again. But it starts in your head sometimes. And then also think about Eric Thomas. I'm just threading him throughout all this. But he talks about your why. Why? Why is it really important that you discipline your emotions? Who does that benefit? Does it benefit you? Does it benefit your children, your spouse, your coworker, the world? Who? Like, what is your why? And Simon Sinek talks about this just in leadership, but he talks about like, start with why. What's the why? Maybe you're your why. So start with that. Okay. Let that be your motivation. But I want you to see yourself, see it, hear it, feel it, experience it. See yourself doing it, becoming the person that you wanted to be in that moment, and continuously rehearse that. All right. So it is progress over perfection. Many times, the reason that we get stuck when we're deciding we want to change, make changes, is we don't recognize what progress is. So for many of us, if you get upset with someone, you normally yell, scream, throw things. That's how you normally respond, right? But this time you get upset and you roll your eyes and stomp your feet and walk off. Now, for most people, they'll be like, well, you still got an attitude problem. You still mean. You still whatever. And then we say, okay, well, I'm still this person. No, you've made progress. Or maybe you normally get upset and you respond right away. Stimulus versus response outcome. But this time you say, you know what? I'm just going to take a minute, 5 minutes, and then I'll come back and respond. Maybe you didn't respond the way you wanted to, but you took that time. Okay? Quiet. That is progress. Okay? It's progress over perfection. Dan Pena, I love this quote. What gets measured gets accomplished. What gets measured gets accomplished. So measure your progress. And remember, it's small. That's all it takes. And then have people. So my number 5 here is accountability. It's really important that when you're working on something, let people know. Let people know. And not as a way to call you out, but as a way to support you and hold you accountable for that. So a lot of times when I'm with the kids, I'll tell them like, okay, if mommy frowns, because they say I frown a lot. They say I do this. And I know I do because I can feel it. And I need to keep my skin tight. You know what I mean? I'm getting be 40 in a couple of weeks. Anyway, so I'll tell them, oh, tell me if I'm frowning. If I'm frowning, let me know. If I'm raising my voice, let me know. And they do. And sometimes I lower my voice and sometimes I don't. But I appreciate the fact that they're calling me out and saying, hey, this is something you said you were going to work on. I'm just helping you out. Now, they could do the same thing. So I have to be able to take that, even if this was a spouse and you say, hey, babe, hey, boo, whatever you call each other, this is something I'm going to be working on. Let them hold you accountable for it so they can help you. You know, you have to really want to make change and help and be willing to let somebody else just hold you responsible for things. Accountability, and I'm going to wrap up here. Accountability is the highest form of maturity. Please write that down. Accountability, which means take complete ownership. Complete ownership of, I heard this in a video, I don't know who it was. That's what he said. Take complete ownership of the good and the bad. You know, the things that you like about yourself and the things that you don't. If you're not handling situations in the way that you like and disciplining your emotions, just own it. It's okay. Be accountable for that, right? That's how we make progress in things. And honor yourself. It doesn't mean you have to change we're not trying to change the emotion. That's what honor is really all about. Is saying, I'm mad. I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. I'm afraid. Whatever those feelings are, honor it. Because we're not looking to change the feeling, we're looking to change the behavior, how we respond to the feeling. And that will eventually change how we feel. What we think, what we say, how we act, whatever. Character changes your whole identity. Okay? But honor yourself. And honor yourself and give yourself a lot of credit. Practice this every single day. Know that, hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay? You are not in this alone. Don't let this smile fool you. All right? I have to practice this a lot. And people will ask me, well, how is it that you're able to handle this situation or that situation or this? Because I am the observer. I take that moment, that awkward moment, whatever it is, call it what you want, to visualize myself in that moment and ask myself, what do I want the outcome to be? Play chess. Don't play checkers, play chess. Okay? In this game of life. And I promise you, every single time you will win. This is a part of building your legacy. And when your kids grow up or people, your spouse, you never know who you're influencing. People around you are learning from you. You are a leader. It doesn't mean you are going to be perfect. You're not. Nobody was perfect. All right. Even Jesus got mad at people. And it was like, you know what? I'm tired of healing y'all. I'm tired of doing miracles. Y'all always asking me for stuff. Like, I'm tired. Do it yourself. Figure it out. So don't worry. Give yourself credit. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to all of that. And I thank you for being loyal. Please share this with someone. This is a really challenging time in the world right now. And above anything else, we all should be working on disciplining our emotions. All of us. Every single person. Every single person who's experiencing the effects of the shutdown and COVID-19 and all this. We've experienced trauma. We have. We haven't recognized it yet, but it is here. And my whole goal behind Legacy Life, TMI, the podcast, and all this is that we become better. That we come out of this situation better than when we went in. Okay? We become better, not bitter, not broken. All right? And that's what I visualize, and I can see it. We just got to do our work. We just got to continue to do our work. So thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, give me a like, a thumbs up, and all that jazz. These will get fancier as I advance and get more technology. But for now, this is what it is. And remember, love is all we need. God bless you guys.